Opening night last night. I quit going to media day a long time ago. It's just too much. It's too many people. It's too hectic. It's too crazy. But Peter, your reaction to what you witnessed there last night?
I mean, I thought the league did a nice job before the Chiefs. The Chiefs went first. They went from 7 to 8, and then the Niners went from 9 to 10. But I thought the NFL did a nice job with the Kobe Bryant tribute right before Chiefs. That was appropriate, I thought, because so many guys on these two teams love Kobe Bryant. You know, the prior generation, they might have loved Michael Jordan.
Sure.
This generation loved Kobe Bryant, and I think so many of these guys were really devastated. But Kyle Shanahan last night talking about how he was devastated by it, you know, hearing about it on the 49ers playing East. So I thought that part of it was good. And then, you know, somebody said to me, so can you tell anything from this opening night? I mean, how did the Niners act? How did the Chiefs act? I said, come on. Yeah. I mean, it's a time where guys just have to sit somewhere for an hour and talk about themselves. How possibly can you get any inkling of what's going to happen in a football game by listening to George Kittle talk about himself, which he does all the time anyway.
Right.
You know, so I there's nothing you can tell.
It was so I didn't have it in my hotel. I had to get it on my phone, right? I didn't have the channel, so I'm streaming it on my phone, and yeah, like I'm getting heckled now. But it was. I just look at it like this. Yeah, I don't tell anything. I don't think there's any great moments. To me, it's just the spectacle. And the NFL does do a great job of putting on a show. And I think for me, the players, everybody involved, to me, it's just the kickoff of the Super Bowl week. And especially for the players, that's where I get most of a kick out of it. It's just watching them come out and to realize, like, whoa, you're in the Super Bowl. We're the only game on in America on Sunday this week in all of football, college, NFL, and it doesn't matter. And you see the guys filming themselves and just the event itself, because it's a special time. To me, that's the thing that I think that always kind of rings true to me.
It really is a spectacle, though. The winner of the night was the guy who was in the Andy Reid punt passing guard.
He was around here yesterday.
With the name misspelled.
R-I-E-D.
Just like it was on the graphic from the Monday Night Football game all those years ago. But there was some football talk. There was some discussion about what is going to happen on Sunday. And among others, Richard Sherman, the 49ers cornerback, was asked about the challenge that they'll be facing with the Chiefs offense. And Sherman was told, hey, look, Mahomes isn't going to shy away from your side of the field. Are you ready? Here's what Sherman had to say.
They got some of the most dynamic playmakers in this league. They got a ton of speed. He got a ton of arm talent. He can get the ball wherever he wants it, when he wants it. He can move around the pocket. You know, we gotta find a way to get that solved. You know, they have a great offense and obviously a ton of playmakers. That's why they're here. That's why they made it to the show.
Yeah, look, they're going to have a rough time. They're going to have a rough time. I mean, Tyreek Hill is going to run circles around guys like Richard Sherman if Patrick Mahomes has enough time to wait for those guys to get open. They're eventually going to get open. It's beat the clock as to whether or not Mahomes will have enough time when he's being chased by the front four of the 49ers to find a guy who's eventually going to be wide open.
No question. I mean, to me, that's the key of the game right now, right? I mean, that's all we can really talk about. We don't know how that's going to unfold. Kansas City protects well. Mahomes a magician in the pocket. Whoa, he hasn't played a defensive line like this all year. I saw a few other, moments with Richard Sherman. He went back to your point, Mike, a few times, which told me, like, he knows he can't cover these guys all day long. He kind of referenced, like, hey, we got to make sure we do a good job of corralling him in the backfield. And he made a lot of comments like that, too. I think he's saying, like, I can't cover this guy for 7 seconds. That's just not going to happen. I think he's very realistic about that. So that is going to be one of the big things. I mean, what's the number, I ask you guys, to where you would go, okay, Mahomes and the Chiefs are in trouble as far as sacks are concerned, right? Like, if San Francisco gets 4 sacks, are you going, uh-oh, Kansas City's in trouble? If is it less than that, or does it not matter to you guys at all?
I think what it is, it's how long is it going to be for Mahomes to have in the pocket before he gets, severe pressure?
Right.
Because, look, this is something that the most interesting single statistic going into this game, in my opinion, is that since the start of the 18 season, when Mahomes starting, he has a 120.3 quarterback rating when he throws in 2.5 seconds or less.
Yeah.
And that is sort of the line of demarcation. That's kind of the magic number. If you get to a quarterback in 2.5 seconds or less, you're really bothering him. And I think the reason why he's so good at it is that he's fine when he has to leave the pocket.
Yeah.
He makes so many plays off platform that is why I think it's hard to say. I think he could get a couple of cheapy sacks early.
Yeah, just trying to buy and make a play, buy some more time.
Exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But I do think that the biggest thing in this game is pressure before you get to that line of demarcation. Pressure at 2.1, 2.2, so he doesn't have time to find Tyreek Hill much past Richard Sherman.
And I think that's the key. Early on, you take a sack or two to understand how much time you're going to have.
Exactly.
You adjust.
Yeah.
You adjust. Okay, they're going to get to me in 3 seconds. I got to get rid of the football
Mike,
before then.
saying that, I think this is so. Dean Pease last week, I was talking to him about this game, and I pointed out, I said, does that surprise you that Andy Reid, who was so ready with the RPOs for this game, did RPOs on the first 2 snaps of this game, the AFC Championship game, and then the rest of the 64 snaps of the game never ran an RPO.
Yeah.
And Dean Pease basically told me, 47-year coach, he said, listen, Andy Reid is one of those guys, he can adjust a minute into a game.
Right.
And then he knows what isn't going to work.
Right.
And we're going to do something totally different. I think he'll do the exact same thing here. And that's why we're talking. If he takes a couple of cheapy sacks early, that is an education to Andy Reid.
Sure.
It's going to tell him we got to do something different now.
Right. We'll cross out this part of my play sheet. Let's
Yeah.
move on. I got other ways to attack. 100%. Here's another interesting thing, just because you brought up Dean Pease, and this is something my dad told me this week, because he was in Kansas City last week for Titans-Chiefs game. And he told me this because it was a wow factor comment. He had never heard a team say this about an opposing team quarterback. And I don't think I've ever heard a team say it either. Dean Pease told my father, he goes, we're not going to blitz Patrick Mahomes. And they were kind of like, well, why? And he goes, because we can't rattle him. It's not possible. You can't rattle Patrick Mahomes. He says we've seen him for 2 years in the NFL. There's not one moment anybody could find in our department that this guy gets shaken or a little confused by the moment or whatever it may be. So, I mean, to what we're saying here, first off, this is a phenomenal talent in Mahomes like that. He hasn't seen a D line like this. I do want to state that one more time. This is going to be a different animal. But I'm just interested to see how that plays out. Yeah, is it cheapy sacks? They're not as effective. You're right. That's a great way to put it.
Like a 2-yard sack is what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, right. And also, like you're saying, he's buying time because he's just not sure. He just wants to be safe with the ball. That's different than, oh, man, like the Red Sea is parted and Bosa and Ford are coming around and hitting them at 2 seconds every time. If we get a lot of those sacks, then I go, whoa, Kansas City's in deep trouble.
How much do we think D. Ford, who was with the Chiefs last year and the year before when Patrick Mahomes was just a practice guy who was wowing everyone privately,
right?
And the rest of us didn't know how good he was, but D. Ford was there to see it. How much does D. Ford know, understand about how he moves, about how he runs? Is that helpful? Or ultimately, does it not matter? Because, yeah, he's great. I've seen it. There's nothing you can do about it. You go try to catch him, and maybe you get lucky, but more often than not, you're not going to get lucky.
I don't see how it helps, but Chris has played. He would know.
Well, I don't think it's a huge deal. I do think, I bet you there's a number of times where Mahomes went against D. Ford in practice. D. Ford got around the edge and thought, oh, man, this is of course, you can't sack him in practice, but they touch him down or do something like that. I bet you Mahomes gives a move. He might have a feel for his first escape move. Ooh, when he leans forward, he's about to dip out the back door and spin out that way. I don't know. That might help him out.
But there's no predictability in what he does. That's the problem.
No, you have to learn body language. They will study body language during the week to go, yes, they're going to try to find a predictability to go, oh, if he leans this way, he's really going to make a move the other way, whatever it is. But it's going to be very hard to do that in real time.
Another topic that came up last night, and look, it's the topic we discussed last week. It's a topic that the Titans didn't take to heart the way they should have. When he becomes a runner, you have to go tackle him. And DeForest Buckner said, I'm getting him down. I'm getting him down. You've got to be smart about it, obviously. If it's on the sideline, you're going to try to tackle him. If he jumps out of bounds, you got to try to get out of the way. I don't know how else to explain it. There's so many rules nowadays protecting the quarterback. I'm not sure. I'm a football player, so I'm going to hit him as legal as possible. And, this was the issue that we got into last week, the gray area.
Right.
You can't just shut down in the gray area. Not with the Super Bowl on the line.
Right.
You can't freak out like the Titans did and watch him run right by you. And between DeForest Buckner and Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw last night, the message was they have to go try to make the play.
Yeah.
And you can't reside in your fear that as you lock in and move toward the guy, if he steps over the line or if he goes into his slide and there's nothing you can just stop. How many times do we say when a guy gets a flag for hitting someone late or hitting someone into a slide, what else could he have done?
Yeah, right.
You've committed.
Yeah,
there's nothing you can do.
Right. No, there is nothing you can do. And that's why, to Mike, to everything you said, I think you were spot on. It's not about hurting the player. It's just making him feel the presence of the defense. Oh, face of the franchise of Kansas City, face of the NFL, you want to run around? Well, we're going to make you pay. I mean, I like I said yesterday, I'd be disappointed if Robert Saleh wasn't preaching that to his defense. And I would expect him really to say, err on hitting him early. Like, if you think it's close, hit him. And if we get the penalty, okay, well, so be it. But we know the line of demarcation of what we can and can't get away with, and we'll adjust as the game goes on. But that's the message I would give to my team and everybody out there. I'm not asking for Patrick Mahomes to get hurt. Are you kidding me? I don't want to see him get hurt. I want to watch him play. But I'm just saying, if you're a defender, you got to have that type of attitude.
If you don't, you're going to be the guy on the highlight as he runs into the end zone for a touchdown.
Yeah, or you're going to,
like Tremaine Brock, Amani Hooker, all those guys who looked like Keystone Cops last week when they were paralyzed by the fact that this quarterback had become a runner and they didn't know what to do.
Look, the Bill Vinovich officiating crew has a different kind of task on its hands this week, and that is particularly the not necessarily the back judge, but I'm talking about the guys who were near the line of scrimmage. And their job is to know, okay, when Patrick Mahomes becomes a runner, he gives up his protections that he has as a quarterback. So when he becomes a runner, he's got to know that the 49ers are going to treat him as a runner, just like they would treat him as a running back in the open field. And that is something that I think, the announcing crew, that everybody should know going into this game, that Patrick Mahomes might get hit very hard in the open field, and he doesn't have the same protections he has in the pocket.
This is the most physical, explosive, fast defense he's played all year. And the 49ers, and we've talked about it all year, this defense it's made to stop a guy like Patrick Mahomes. Now, whether it can do it, I don't know. We're going to see. That's a whole different story. This guy's special. We haven't seen many people like him in the history of the NFL. But I know I'm astounded when I watch 49ers film. I sit there and just go, whoa, the team speed on defense is off the charts, and they got big guys, as you know. They are one of those all-time get-off-the-bus looking teams, like where you just go, whoa, this is a special group here. And that's where, I just find the whole matchup very intriguing.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.